Yeah.
It's weird.
That is weird.
It's like, okay, so I'm, this makes sense in the camera. I'm here, but
Meanwhile, the camera's
camera's
like over here.
Yeah.
I think it's because sorry, we're discussing technical things to start off.
Yes.
Welcome to our non-scheduled Friday edition.
Exactly. Tarot Delights. And we're delightfully starting with technology. Oh, okay. I have a coffee here. I was looking at your drink going, oh, I don't have a drink. Oh my God.
I usually come prepared because either we talk too much or the space is dry. It's winter. It's just drier.
And talking just dehydrates you anyways.
Of course.
And of course, we're not going to sit here and just silently stare at you.
Yeah.
It's like,
We have things to say.
we do.
Come on.
And
it's a
moments
Friday.
of silence are great, but not when you're doing a live video.
Well, sorry, that'll be, okay, we'll do another delights. Okay, tarot focused.
Yes.
Because I was about to go on a tangent.
Okay. Yep. No worries.
Tarot focused.
Yeah, I have a couple of things brewing, but I don't know. Maybe it was the passing out yesterday in the dentist chair. I cannot think right now.
Well, we're going to talk about Imbolc.
Yes, we're going to talk about Imbolc and how to use your tarot with
Ooh,
that.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Imbolc is, I love, first of all, that one, Mother Nature gives us many starts. Because there's, the new year, right? That's the new calendar year. We always feel like, oh, it's fresh, it's new, it's time to start and review and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we're off the wagon of our resolutions by the 15th of January. So she gives us another one at Imbolc. It's about the returning of the light. That's what we're celebrating. Agriculturally speaking, it's the first farm animals being born, which are sheep. So it's called the lambing because the little lambs come in first, right?
Lambs.
I know, right? And so that's the first of, if you have a couple new lambs, you've got, first of all, milk. You've got more wool to shear once they get older. You might have some meat as well. It sort of fortifies you in knowing, okay, we're okay, right?
Yeah.
Because this is also traditionally the most dangerous time of year because it's when people would starve to death.
Yes, because you've almost used up all your stores from winter, right?
Yes,
So
and there's no fresh bounty coming in yet. There's no plants coming in or whatever. Oh, I forgot to suspected spam. There we go.
Hey, your phone tells you that.
I
Mine just is
know.
like, here's some random number.
Exactly. So I love it for that. That's a great feature on the Android phones. Is that it tells you spam likely. We call that caller.
Oh, I'm going to throw it back to the early 2000s. Remember the Mac versus PC commercials?
Oh, I do remember. Yeah, there was a big.
So that just made me think of like if they were still going today, they would probably have like Android versus Apple, and
right.
And that would be a good feature. Meanwhile,
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, because my husband used to own a computer store, so yeah, we sold both. So, but there's definitely more of a draw for the PC.
For sure, and I think there's a lot of practicality. I was in the staff room yesterday for lunch. Two things. I'm jealous. The woman had a thermos and a bowl of cereal, and I'm like, that is my new life goal, is to have cereal for lunch.
Oh,
'Cause
nice.
it just looked delicious.
Yeah.
And they were talking. I tried not to eavesdrop, and I was leaving, but they were talking about how one of their kids was going off to school, and they said they would buy the computer, but the program they're taking requires a Mac, and they were like, I was expecting, $600, not.
No, Macs. Yeah, Macs are ridiculously expensive, and they're really expensive to fix. So God forbid anything go wrong with your Mac.
And if you try to fix it yourself, you're voiding your warranty, so be careful.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how they get you.
So Imbolc, like I said, it's a dangerous time of year, but knowing that the lambs come in, and this is sort of traditionally the time when you bless the seeds that you're about to start. So this is a time of year. As Canadians, we probably back it up a little bit because we can't get out into the ground as soon as...
Yeah, we have to wait till it unthaws a little more.
Yeah, exactly.
We're pretty solid over here.
Exactly. But it is the celebration of the days
getting longer.
Right? Because Imbolc is also the same time as Groundhog Day, right? And if he sees his shadow, it's 6 more weeks. If he doesn't, then it's only 4, I think.
And there's I'm going to mess up the name. It's one of the more, I want to say Celtic spirits. I don't know if that's true.
Oh,
But
yeah, the old woman with
The old
wood.
woman, yeah.
Yeah, so she was here before the groundhogs were. And it's the story is if it's sunny out, she can go out and get more wood and bring it back and feed her fireplace and keep herself warm. So if it's sunny out, it means there's going to be a longer winter.
because she's got more supplies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of course, if you've ever heated by wood, you know your amount of wood goes down, and you're like looking at the last log, going, how long heat do we have? But if it's cold and windy out, she doesn't want to go out and get more wood.
So spring will be sooner because
Yes.
she's still inside being warm.
And she is the spirit that's supposed to bring spring. So if she feels she can stay in her cottage nice and cozy and warm, she's not going to bring spring.
No. Why would she bring spring?
Exactly. Bring spring. That's hard to say.
Tongue twisters galore on this Tarot's Delight.
Exactly. But Imbolc is about, that it's another start. So if you've fallen off the resolution wagon, I don't personally make resolutions, but I do, reflections on what can I improve in myself.
And like it's a good chance to like reevaluate. Like, did you set a goal last year? Did we make progress towards said goal, or do we need to pivot and figure out maybe I need to go left instead of right? Or
Yeah, exactly. And then we have another one in March, spring. Spring is the start of a lot of new things. So we get another start in spring. So every month, January, February, March, we have new starts. And then there's also a new start in September, right?
Yep.
So, it's like because we've all been trained that September is the changing of a season. It's going back to school, so we're ready to put our nose to the grindstone, that sort of thing. So it's funny how there's and the Chinese New Year lands around now too.
Yeah, it's Imbolc and Chinese New Year on the same day this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I believe it's the year of the snake.
Year of the Snake.
Yeah,
We
there
are.
you go.
I'm at my 12 because like I'm actually a snake.
Oh, I'm a rooster.
So we were discussing that at work the other day.
As I
'cause
puff myself up.
the kids were all like, "What am I? What am I?" So we had to like look up a bunch of years.
Oh,
for
okay.
the kids. They were
okay.
like,
And snake magic is actually very powerful magic. So, it's about shedding the skin of the old, of what you don't need, and you're bright and shiny and able to just go away and do your thing again. So, lots of great starts.
lean into that snake magic this year.
Exactly. So, don't be afraid to let things go, because that's what this, as far as the Chinese New Year goes, that's what it's about.
Well, and also I think, like psychologically speaking, people hang on to stuff too much, whether it's personal, like whether it's physically, and they hang on to too many belongings that they don't need. I have 50 million boxes, like empty boxes right now, because I keep forgetting that, there's plastic and then there's cardboard, and then for some reason I always miss the cardboard week, so I really need to get on that.
It's interesting that you say that. I mean, you talk about how organized I am here, and so we have our apartment inspection. They do it every year coming up, right? So I'm like, I have got my library, my craft room, and my vanity room on point.
Yep.
Everything's put where it's supposed to be. You can walk in there, and it's not Better Homes and Gardens worthy by any means, but I know where everything is. It's all.
Yeah.
I keep walking in. Like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do any art projects until after the
They
inspection.
do the inspection because like the one day you're like, oh, they're not going to come this week, and poof.
Yeah, exactly. So I keep walking into those rooms going, look at everything's all neat and tidy, and la la la. So I'm like, wow, I got it all done. I'm really happy with myself.
Yeah, I need to work on that. Maybe I'll just assume that I'm not even gonna put it in the universe. I'm gonna assume what you're anticipating and just start doing that as well.
Yeah. And I was pretty good about being harsh about things letting go. I still have a lot of stuff, don't get me wrong.
Well, I think
But at the same time, it's all organized. I know exactly where everything is.
Good.
And I was good about, like, you haven't used this in a couple of years. Are you ever going to fix it, use it, whatever? And I'm like, nope. So off it went.
off it goes.
Yeah. And it just made space for me to, I'm like, well, here's what I do need. Here's what I don't need. And I can, figure it out. Because sometimes I'm buying things, not realizing I already have
Yes.
stuff.
That's
because I found some treasures.
See, that's always the fun part, but that's the sidetrack part. So like, I will be cleaning something, and then I'll find something like a hat or something. So like, you're wearing the hat to reach the other stuff, or for example,
Yes.
I
You have 20 sweaters on.
yeah, because they're not dirty, and I need to put them away. In order to get to the closet, this needs to happen first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hardly bend over to pick up stuff.
Or, for example, we were talking about like new things in planners and things like that. So, like, I have a planner that I use and I love it, and I didn't buy it last year because it's kind of expensive. It comes from the States. Wonder how that's going to affect things soon. Put it on a bookshelf because I was like, oh, I look at this bookshelf regularly. I'll find it in January and it'll be no problem. Do you think future me, but before January me, was thinking about that when I covered the front of the bookshelf with other books?
Oh, right,
And then I was like, oh crap, where'd my planner go? So I had to do like a mini cleanup to find my you know.
Right. Yes. Well, I found like jewelry stuff that I'd bought and hadn't even taken out of the package.
Oh, that's always fun.
I know. And I found a bunch of yarn that I hadn't opened. And it was just like, and I found another bag of yarn because I just hung the bag up and I forgot what was in the bag.
your yarn stories.
And it's like, oh, here we go. There's some more yarn here. So I literally have a yarn cupboard.
Careful, because that can, so that's how my grandmother started. She had a yarn cupboard, and then it turned into a yarn closet, and then it turned into multiple closets, and then it turned into 4 times. When they moved 4 different times, we had to pack up the yarn and re-put it in a different closet in the new house. And then eventually, when she was like, yeah, I'm done, I'm not going to be, so like she sold off the rest of her yarn, actually quite recently. And there was yarn that she hadn't even touched that still had price tags on it. And I'm like, seriously?
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I got a craft box from one of my neighbors. She was getting rid of stuff, and she knew I crafted. So she gave it to me, and there was yarn in there and stuff. But there was stuff from White Rose. Do you remember White Rose Craft Store? Like, and unopened. So it was still in the package, still good.
Ooh.
White Rose. I loved that shop. It was great.
There's, and like, Fabricland still exists, right?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yep,
Because
yep,
like
still around.
I did a lot of trips there with my grandparents, or grandmother, I should say. She was a sewer. When I was younger, and then I would always walk by one.
Oh, okay.
When I moved out, and I lived near one.
Oh, okay.
So I always walked by one, but I haven't seen one in years.
Oh, yeah, it's up where Metro is at the end of Gardner's. Yeah, at the end of Gardner's.
Is it in that little plaza?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, and they sell not just fabric now, but a lot of craft stuff too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that might be dangerous. Maybe I shouldn't do it.
So I always check it out. You know, like I do a little bit of sewing. I'm not a seamstress by any means. I could not. Well, I guess I could make a dress, but it'd be more like a sack dress.
Sack dress. All right. Next series is going to be Rhonda exploring her sewing prowess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I make a lot of catnip bags or pillows, right? And it's not hard to sew pillows. So.
I love it.
And I make aprons too, right? But I cheat with the aprons.
That's fair.
Because I have the foundation of the apron, but I add the fabric of whatever you want. So I made some for my granddaughters. One was butterflies and the other one was donuts.
Ooh.
And I got them little chef hats too.
That's adorable.
I know. I keep meaning to ask Catherine to take a picture of them in their aprons and chef hats. And then I made a couple of aprons for Catherine too.
Nice. Well, I mean, she definitely utilizes them. The amount of cooking that girl does.
Oh, yeah. And like when the girls came over for Thanksgiving, I gave Catherine an apron to wear, but the girls kept wearing, so she didn't wear. I'm like, you could have asked me for another one. I have about 6 of my own, right?
Yeah.
And I said, you could have asked me for another one and another one for one of the girls to borrow, you know, but they kept switching it around.
Oh.
It was funny. So.
Oh, they're adorable.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty funny. They got to come over here and help Nana with a couple of things. In my rearranging, you may notice that the cupboard of darkness is now behind us. So the candles have moved over there.
And the crystals have moved over there.
Yeah, crystal corner over here.
Crystal corner. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
We should do like a segment of This Week in Crystal Corner.
That's right. There you go. And talk about crystals and how to utilize them and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a few pins and product that have fallen down that are best for little people to reach in and grab it. They'll be able to do that.
Nice.
And then of course they have like their little fairy house.
The fairy. I love that idea. That was so cute.
Yeah. So in the moving, of course, everything's been
Jostled.
jostled.
So the fairies have had a tornado.
Yes.
Or
and
windstorm.
They have to come in and help the fairies clean it up. Because there's eggs and dishes everywhere.
I follow a librarian on TikTok. She's in the States, and I know there's a lot of underfunding as far as schooling in the States. So this brings me back to the fairy. She has what's called a book fairy.
Oh,
So the
okay.
kids will leave requests for the book fairy.
Oh, nice.
And the book fairy is her like Amazon wish list. And then so like followers will buy the books, she'll bring them in and be like, the book fairy made another delivery. And then she'll write back to the kids in these like little miniature envelope. Like it's adorable.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because when the girls came over, whenever they did, because they used to come over a little more regularly, I always gave them a book to go home with.
Yep.
So I was, scouting the thrift stores, and I'd buy all kinds of books, and they always knew they could go to where the bookshelf is and pick out their own book. So
Nice.
yeah, it was kind of cool. I like that. So, and they still like whenever they come over, they know they get candy and books, so they're always looking for both. I'm a little understocked right now, but
Uh-oh.
because there's some books. It's funny. They'll look at it and go, and I'm like, that's a good book. What do you mean?
Well, and it's interesting too because like my grandmother made sure I was well read as a child. The Boxcar Children.
Okay.
That was like a 20, 30 series books. It was insane.
Yeah. And it probably did it take place in the 40s, if I remember? Like the storyline?
Think so?
Like
I'd
it
have
was-
to read it.
It was a
again.
little older. It's like not Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys and
Yeah,
stuff.
but they were like, they were orphaned. And then they lived in a boxcar for a while, and then they found like this older gentleman wanted to like help them, but then they were like, "No, we don't know you," and it turns out to be their grandfather. Oh, it's so sweet. And then they
Wow.
solve mysteries.
But at least they had the wherewithal to have stranger danger.
Yes, yes. Which I don't think is taught enough, considering we get into strangers' cars for Uber.
Yeah, right? Like, it could be anybody, I know. And I think Lyft is coming to Kingston, too.
Oh, is it?
I think
Oh,
so.
the poor taxi commission. Oh my goodness.
I know,
They already have
right?
enough to grumble about.
Yeah, they were upset when Uber was here. And now they have to compete with Lyft as well. And I don't think you just have to have a license, I think. You don't have to have a taxi license, right?
Well, that like I feel like there should be some because like I've heard some serious horror stories and like
Oh, I've never had a bad experience.
oh no, but like I've heard like in bigger cities I've heard some horror stories.
Oh, yeah.
The only bad experience I've had with a taxi was I was in an unfamiliar city and I lost where I was. Like I just couldn't orientate myself, and I literally was like, I don't care if it's 2 minutes away or 20 minutes away. I'll pay whatever fee it is and I'll give you a tip. Just take me there. And he's like, no, it's not worth my time.
Well, I've had both good experience and bad experience, only with taxis, not
Yeah.
with Uber. One guy tried to
Yeah.
sexually do things, and I was not happy about that, obviously. And then another driver, I was walking home after the bars, and I was, into my cups, so to speak, and he saw me. And Montreal Street's kind of a scary street to be on.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
After midnight in Kingston. Kingston's not a big, bad city or anything.
No, but
there's certain pockets.
Everyone knows not to be on Montreal Street after midnight.
So a taxi driver actually pulled up beside me, and at first I was like, "Who's this guy?" And he's like, "Miss, can you please get in? Because you're not safe to be here walking home." Because he asked me where I was walking to, and I told him I was going here. And he said, "Can you get in? Because I just want to make sure you make it home safely." And he didn't charge me for it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so that was really nice. That was very nice. So, there's good and bad in both, right?
For sure. And I mean, I just find it really interesting that we went from like 80s, 90s stranger danger to like, yeah, here's this random car that's going to come pick you
Or
up.
meeting random strangers for coffee.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Actually, so I'm in a classroom right now that they're learning about internet safety, or no, not just internet safety, but like social media safety.
Oh, okay.
And then so the teacher and I are joking because like we're relatively similar in age, and I'm like, nothing like the days of random chat rooms or like chat roulette, and you never know what you got.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm just like, oh, we know so much more.
Well, there's a whole TV show made about that, right? It's like, oh my goodness. But anyways, we are digressing.
Oh yeah, okay. So if you want tarot, skip to 1930.
1930. Okay.
Yeah.
But they won't hear that until 1930.
Okay, so then we'll put that in the description.
Okay.
That was more of my own reminder to like write it somewhere.
Yeah, we're 20 minutes in, and we've only talked a little bit about Imbolc and a little bit about tarot. Not
We
a
haven't
lot.
caught up in a while. Can you tell?
Yes, yeah. Over the Christmas break, we haven't seen each other, so we've missed each other, and there's so much to talk about and share. Blah blah blah. So I hope you guys all had good holidays too. You might be watching this a few years later in the middle of summer and go, "What is she talking about?"
Why? But what you can't see is out our window. There's like slush and snow and
Yeah,
grossness.
we've been hit by a lot of snow. We're supposed to get hit again on Sunday, I think.
Oh, so Mondays the buses might be canceled.
Might be. Yeah.
No, I work at a primarily walked school, so like it doesn't affect us.
Oh. Unless the snowbanks are this high or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
It's my favorite.
And a
Buses
lot
are-
of schools won't close.
No, I think it's like because we're supposed to be open as like a safety measure.
Yeah, I was gonna
or
say just in
something.
case a kid does show up.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be there to say, yeah,
Yeah.
you can come on in.
Yeah.
And you know, don't leave them out in the cold, so to speak.
Yeah, but I cracks me up. So I'm in not a junior grade, so I had to figure out how to say that. And one of the kids was like away for the whole week, and then this Thursday was a snow day, and we're all looking at him like, "You come on the snow day?
Yeah.
That's the day you choose to come back."
Right. Oh, so I have my new Gilded Tarot
Ooh,
deck.
the new one.
The new one. So I've been bonding with it, and I've used it in the new year now because I was bonded with it. So my old deck was getting worn, and she lost the moon card.
Like
Yeah.
you literally can't find it.
I can't find it.
What is
So-
that? Is that of any significance to it? Like,
Not really. I think it's just her way of. Maybe the moon card will show up again. I don't know, but
maybe it's her way of saying, "Yeah, I need a break."
yeah. And I have bonded with that deck, and I said, "Is it okay if I get this deck?" So it's the older or the younger sister of her, right? So she seems to be fine with that. So
Cool.
yeah, and this deck has been used in my New Year's readings for January, and I'm just loving the art. I mean, a lot of it's very similar too.
Well, I think it's interesting because like I think the other deck had borders, right?
It did, yes.
And so this one's like more focused on the art.
It is, and I wasn't sure how I'd like that, like if I liked borderless, but I've been having some really good, powerful readings with it.
That's a whole other topic, like whether you prefer decks with borders or decks without.
Yeah.
Because that's a hot topic amongst like a lot of the tarot groups that I'm in. That they'll be like, "Oh, this deck's great. You should try it." If people are making recommendations, by the way, it has borders. If that's not your thing.
Yeah. I don't think I have a preference one way or the other. I base it on an individual deck.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah,
You know, it's a case by case.
it's a case
judgment.
by case. I'm gonna say no, that one doesn't.
But yeah, I'm liking the no borders of this one. It's different, but the same, right? Like they're sisters to each other. So as you saw too, I'm using the old deck as a display thing.
I know, I love it.
For my tarot card holders that you can get. So yeah, so this is the deck I'm going to be using today to set some intentions, the blessing of the seeds. What do I want to plant? All this kind of, or what do I need to plant too?
Yeah, I always like that's I think my problem with setting goals is like I'm up here like, yeah, I want to achieve this, and then sometimes I can't backtrack it enough to be like, where's my first step?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
Or like I have that first step and I can't see that end. So then somewhere in the middle it just kind of goes by the wayside.
Well, it's great if you know what the first step is, because as you get closer to getting to your goal, tarot becomes clearer and more
Okay.
concise, right? So like even when I do the year-long reading, I always say this could change because now you know this is going to happen.
Yes, because then you have that power of like, okay, if this is gonna happen, but then if you go left instead of right, like if you're supposed to go right.
Or potentially you would be going right because that's your habit.
Yes. But then if you decide to deviate left.
How does that change and
Yeah.
affect everything else?
Yeah.
Exactly. And these readings have been like the thing about the New Year reading. I only do them December and January, and January people that come in, clients, get a little peek of 2026, right? Because I give them the choice. Now, if they're coming at the beginning of January, let's say they came in January 4th, I ask them, do you want to look at the rest of this month
Okay.
or do you want to go into 2026? I always give them that choice.
Oh, that's interesting.
Now, this is the last day of January right now.
Yes.
So obviously they're going to want to look at,
February onwards.
yeah, or maybe they want to clarify what happened
Yeah.
this January. Oh yeah, that totally fits, right? I did have one client that did that. Like she was a couple of days ago, and January was almost over, but she said, "No, I want to see how accurate the cards are going to be." So it was a
Oh.
clarifier for her.
For January. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So it was real. I was a little bit surprised because I figured she would just want to look at 2026, but
Yeah.
and the cards were right. She's like, that's totally fits and what has happened. So yeah, and 20, because I do a bunch of these now and I can see the trends, right?
I was
2025.
going to say, what are the trends for 2025?
Well, 2024 for everyone was come see, come saw.
Okay.
Wasn't good, wasn't bad.
Okay.
It was just meh, one of
Status
those.
quo.
Yeah, exactly. But 2025 is looking fantastic for almost everyone.
Oh, thank God, because the world's on fire.
Yeah, right?
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I don't want to doom and gloom, but I'm glad people's readings are reflecting that there is hope and that there is something to look forward to, because
Yeah.
start of this year has not been pretty.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, it's been a little bit of a let's
Yep.
overcome, let's face this. And yeah, one client I had in yesterday, for instance, she had her reading, New Year's reading. She's already in for her other reading, right? Because they got another reading, those that purchased beforehand. And she said, what you said in January totally
Ooh.
happened. And then we did a clarifying line, and then we did what's coming up kind of thing. And yeah, she was like, yeah, no, the cards have been bang on each time. And it's just and she said it was her tower year. Now I kind of, helped, I hope, to mitigate that a little bit. Because when people say it's a tower year, they're expecting all kinds of shit to happen.
But
Now-
tower cards are very much a shit's hitting the fan.
Absolutely. It's like Kali, though. The
Okay.
goddess Kali. It
Yep.
burns off what no longer serves you anyways.
Okay.
Right? And I said, the one thing about the tower is that it will strip you of what you don't need. Mm-hmm. It's also a card of hope because it's called the Phoenix card. Mm-hmm. So it's rising from the ashes, and something else will come in place of what has been taken away or released or whatever. And the other great thing about the tower is it's not based on anything you've done. It's not consequences.
Okay.
It's just life throws you curveballs.
Yep. But it's not consequences of your actions.
It's just
Yeah.
shit just happens. Like when someone close to you dies, for instance, it's not like, oh, I went out and bought the wrong mayonnaise, so now someone's gonna die because of that, right?
Can you imagine?
Unless
We
it's
would
like
be afraid to leave our houses.
exactly. So that's what the tower isn't a consequence filled card. It's not like you've been bad, therefore you get punished, or
No,
you've
I think
done
it's
something
more of
wrong,
a we're
therefore-
gonna shake things up and things aren't gonna go as you see according to plan.
Absolutely. But it will burn off things you've been holding on to. You were just talking about that for too long.
Okay.
And it's from physical stuff to spiritual stuff to emotional stuff. And emotional stuff is like trauma and things like that is a very big one, right?
Yes.
People love to hang on to their trauma.
Well, it becomes like a
Because-
badge of honor.
And
almost.
they
And,
feel it's a justified thing.
yeah.
I'm
They're like,
angry
I
at
went
this
through
person.
this.
Yeah.
And you need to understand that I was very hurt by this. Mm-hmm. When actuality, don't get me wrong, people care about you, but they
100%.
don't necessarily. Every time you talk about it, you're re-traumatizing yourself.
Yeah.
So you're not able to move past said trauma.
Yeah, and we've become a much gentler society. That might be hard for some people to hear because there's a lot of
Stuff going on. But in the sense, you're right though. We have.
I have been reading a lot of medieval history lately.
Oh my gosh.
And those
The
people
stark
were
contrast?
fucking insane.
The stark contrast of what we are living versus
Right.
what was there. Oh my goodness.
The beheadings and and that was if you had title. Only royalty and ladies and lords and privileged people got beheaded.
So what did they
That
do?
was
Just throw you in a grave and go bye-bye?
No, what they would do to the common folk is they would hang them, and they wouldn't hang them till they're dead. They would hang them enough that they were kind of dying.
Okay.
Then they would cut through their bellies and pull out their intestines, and then they would
Trigger
hack
warning.
off their arms and legs. It's like, we don't do that anymore, thank
No.
God. You know, and
Can
even
you imagine?
I know. I'm like, and people would come out to watch this. It's
Well, that
like-
was the only form of entertainment.
yeah, it became like a circus thing, right? And same thing with the burnings, right? Like,
Oh yes, yes.
you know,
yes.
if your executioner was kind, he would strangle you before the burnings.
Mm-hmm.
And if your family had some money, they would buy a bag of gunpowder to string around your neck, and hopefully, and it was the executioner that had to do that. Sorry, that was getting all tangled up, so I was like, I got to take the chain off. But the executioner would put the gunpowder around your neck,
Yeah.
and therefore you would explode before you died of burning.
Well, I mean that is a kindness in a way. It's a rough kindness, but
Like, if they saw that as kindness, I'm like, oh my God. Like,
all right. And sometimes I wonder if we have come a long way, because there are things that sometimes people say. I'm like,
yeah.
okay. But yeah, if you're talking medieval versus now, we totally have come a long way, and thank God I don't live back then. I actually,
Yeah.
for one, would not be alive.
But
Because they would have
people
seen. Yeah.
romance it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's medieval festivals, and I love those. I've gone to those myself.
Oh, the Ren fairs.
Yes,
I
the
haven't
Renaissance and all that kind of stuff.
Been, closest
right?
thing I've been to is in medieval times, and it was still fun.
Oh, okay. There used to be a restaurant in Toronto that didn't do the show of medieval times, but there was only one thing on the menu, and it was the King's Supper or something
Oh,
like
interesting.
that. And you got like the drumsticks, and you didn't have any utensils except a knife, I think, because that was traditional for what happened then. You just ate with your hands, right? And they would bring food out, like all kinds of food.
Wow.
And it was so amazing. And it was like back then, it was like, 30 or 40 years ago, it was like $50 a person, which was considered expensive.
It would be expensive, but at the same time, if you're bringing like that much food out, it would make sense. Like you would have to replenish the stores essentially.
Oh, and you got a beer mug.
a beer stir,
Steen, yes. And I got pop in mine because I was a kid at the time. But I thought that was amazing. I'm
Like I get to drink with the big people.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, there's no distinguishing who has beer and who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you looked like an adult even though you were drinking pop. Because even to this day, as an adult, I don't drink a lot. So I often order pop. But they bring it in like
The little kitty cups.
yeah, or the big plastic. Like, you give me the plastic cup, but you give the guy drinking beer the glass. Like,
Who's more likely to spill?
exactly. It's like, come on, upgrade your glasses for the adults.
Oh my goodness. Yes, that's right.
It's like, oh my goodness. But anyways, that was, like we were talking about punishment and stuff, and yeah, it's much better now. We're more judging.
Yeah. Speaking of New Year's readings, I was reading and watching a girl on YouTube. Well, I've talked about her before, Lisa Pepez. She used to be supportive tarot, but I think she just goes by her name now. Anyway, she does a thing where she does New Year's readings, but puts them in an envelope.
Nice.
So then you open them monthly, and like that's what your reading is for the month.
Oh, cool.
So I did a version of that, and I think we should do like a workshop or something.
Yeah, I love that.
So this was January's because I made them literally last weekend. I was so horrible.
Okay.
Let them go. That's my
Nice.
oracle card. Let them go.
Yeah.
And then
Or you could also just do let them.
let them.
Yes.
A little dragon wisdom.
That's nice.
Initiation. Dragons often evolve and move through the gateways of life, and now we come to help to ease you through the door into the next stage of your life. We will cheer you through. So I've got some dragon energy cheering me on
Nice.
for the year. And then so this is same
Yeah,
girl
I
that
totally
did-
want to do that.
the same girl that did Hidden Realms Tarot. She did the Sister Witches Tarot. Her art is fantastic. Okay, good. I don't have to.
So in
censor any
the
boobies.
envelope, would you also get what each one means too?
I think if it was a paid service, yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But I mean, this was just mine, and I'm gonna eventually do the. So I got the Three of Trees, which I think is Pentacles. Queen of Skies, which is Queen of Air.
Oh, okay.
Oh no,
Swords.
wrong one. Trees is Wands, Sky is Air.
Okay.
And stones are Pentacles.
Okay, and these are swords then. Skies.
Yes, you're right.
Element air. You got that
Element
right.
air.
But
There we go.
Suit.
This is
of
why I
sorts.
like the RWS. There's no thinking involved. But her,
She's got quite the stare.
yes, but the art is just amazing. Like I love, 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 love. But yeah, so that's how like my January went, which was interesting because I got picked up at a school for full-time hours till March. So I would say that would be my air and swords
Yeah.
kind of
Swords have
queen
to do
energy.
with education and
Yep.
that sort of thing. Absolutely.
My 3 of trees. That's usually 3 of wands. What is 3 of wands again?
3 of Wands is movement. Well, 3 is always movement forward, but
Excuse me. Didn't turn off my alarms for breaks.
Wands are also like your passion, right?
Yeah. So I need to move some passion projects forward, and that has already been percolating in the back of my head. So that's
Can I
great.
take this idea? I'm going to take this idea.
Whatever. Wasn't my idea. I was just
I'm
saying.
like, yeah, I'm totally going to be doing this.
Yeah. And I've literally, so I have February, so I carry around like the month at hand. And then this is February, so that I'm not going to open yet till the middle of February.
Cool.
But I did them all. I did the 12.
For yourself there.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yep. So that's kind of how I'm going to do it. And I mean, I probably should do videos and be like, this was my conclusion of the month, and this is how the cards kind of interacted. And I think it's
How's this 5 of
5 of
stones, which is pentacles?
Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles, isn't that the like your resources were there, but you're not taking into consideration? So
Well, the 5 of pentacles is when they're walking into the church begging.
yes.
Yeah, so they're like going to get some help. And 5s are always a transition to a better place.
So I think this is definitely like wayward spirit related, because I definitely want to have a larger focus on that in 2025. So I think that's the like you're not utilizing your resources. I think I would do
You need to lop some heads off.
lop some heads off. Yeah, her art is stunning, and I think it's really interesting that the heads, maybe that I'm holding on to things that don't serve right now, and I need to let those go
Right,
before I can really embrace what's coming.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that you got the tree.
Yeah.
Because I know you're super into trees.
I am super into trees. Oh, they really are like.
Because you got a tree here and then trees here.
Yep.
You start this with trees, something you love. Mm-hmm. You know, because you're doing the full moon circles.
Yes.
And I'm doing the new moon circles. And you always have a tree element.
Yes,
Druidy
and
type
I really
vibe.
Yeah, it's really kind of become its own.
Yeah, yeah.
I really like how it's vibing. Last circle we did an invocation with our wands, whether you used your finger or had a crystal wand. I just recently acquired a wand that I'm still bonding with.
Okay,
So that
nice.
was a cool little thing to do with mine.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it just I find it really interesting too, because people can have their own thing. So like for me it's trees, for other people it could be crystals, it could be like a mundane thing as well, and it helps accentuate your practice in a way that's personal for you.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love it. Yeah, and speaking of bonding, this is a new deck for me, but I didn't bring it out for public consumption
Until after you've bonded with it.
until
Yeah.
after I bonded with it. And I bonded it with me and my old deck. So it was
Ooh,
a
so it's like
transition.
a transitional.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So my old deck, like I was saying earlier, this is this little sister of the old decks. I've got one of the original gilded tarot decks, and I've had her for
Years.
years. Yeah, years. At least a decade. At least, probably more than that. And you have to bond with your tools. And be careful. Like I cleansed this, I smudged it, and then I bonded with it. And you have to do it for 21 days is the idea. And
It
she's
takes 21 days to form a habit.
exactly. So she's bonding with a wand right now. So it eats, sleeps, and drinks with you for 21 days. Remember in high school when you'd get the egg or the bag of flour that you had to take care of?
Parenting class.
Yeah,
Yep.
to see if you could be a good parent. How many
Which-
people forgot the bag of flour?
Which, in hindsight, I get that's the only way they could do the class, but man, that is not a good encapsulation of parenting at all. Not at all.
It was only a way for, you know, if you liked a guy, I want you to be the father of my bag of flour.
Oh my god! I love it.
Let's see how well we do as parents. Ooh, that means we had sex. And apparently I was pregnant and gave birth to a bag of flowers. So
This is your bag of flowers.
everything he does wrong is because of you. But if you watch on Lessons of Tarot, it's another playlist on this channel, I talk about how to bond with a new tarot deck, because you should never just take it out of the box and just start using it. Now, that being said, if you've done that with a deck, you can apologize to it, as you should, and then start the bonding process. It's not like, oh, I've had it and I've already used it, it's blah, 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 you know. It's like, no, you can always restart. That's the beauty.
Well, and it's also, I find really interesting too, is there's the thing in most tarot groups, you can do interviews with the deck. So like, there's different people have made like spreads and it says interview with the tarot.
Yeah.
And like, that's a good way of determining how the deck's going to work with you or whether or not it wants to work with you. Like I know with pendulum magic, you have to ask the pendulum whether or not it wants to work with you.
Yeah.
And whether or not it says yes or no is how you
There's
proceed.
two ways with pendulum. You can say, I want this to be the yes, I want this to be the no. Now, if you want a pendulum to truly work with you, I feel I would rather ask the pendulum, what is your yes? What is your no? But you can do it so you force it.
Oh, yeah, no.
And
I
I'm
like
like,
asking.
you know, it's like, this is a tool that's supposed to be working with you, not
Yeah,
because
like why
it's
would you force
in
the energy?
command. You know, like I don't like to be in command of these things.
Well, and that's it because they're tools, right? Like
Yeah.
when it was interesting because I buy enough tarot decks, not through mail like Amazon, that I've bought a couple from a brick and mortar store we have, and a couple of the cashiers are like, "Oh, you're into tarot." I was like, "Yeah, it's great," and they're like, "Aren't you scared?" I'm like, "No."
Scared. Yeah, a lot of people ask that. Aren't you scared? I'm like, no.
I'm like, it's a tool.
Yeah.
And that's the first question I ask. They're like, well, isn't it, or I get asked when people find out that I read tarot, you know, on the side or.
And yet these are probably the same people that'll use a Ouija board.
Yeah. And I won't touch that.
I won't touch that. I won't let it come through my doors.
Nope.
No. I've heard too many horror stories.
You know what
And
I
I've
mean?
experienced one when I was a kid, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure I probably dabbled with one, but it was at somebody else's house. So I was
Yeah.
like,
And I know there's a lot of people out there that go, well, it's just a tool too. But it's like, it's more than a tool. It's a portal.
it is. And I mean, you can make portals too, like unintentionally as well as, like,
Yeah.
there's been.
But with Ouija, you're making it accidentally on purpose.
Yes, because you're saying, yes, let's do this. So you're
Yeah.
consenting to opening.
And most people don't close it.
Yeah, no, you don't leave that stuff open. Ooh.
Well, that's where the problem arises.
Yeah.
Is that most people don't close it.
You keep the circle open, you don't keep a portal open.
No, exactly. So, you know, and there's been people that used Ouija boards on a regular and they've had no problem with it. And it's like, well, then you've been really lucky and just,
Really lucky or well warded.
yeah.
Like, I
But
feel
even
like
well warded, I would not let a Ouija board come in here. Not in a million
this
years.
space has an amazing energy. Don't screw with that.
Yeah, exactly, right? I got rid of all that Mason energy, so. I smudged the shit out of this place when we moved into it.
I love the day that you showed me, like, before you moved in. I was like, whoa, what? How did you even? Anyway, that's another Tarot's Delight story.
Yeah. That's a well-kept secret right now.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, is it? Anyway, no.
But
I-
everybody that comes in here goes, I love this space better than the other space you had.
Really?
Yeah, some people were not comfortable in the other space. And I kind of got it. I was like, okay, I hear that. I didn't really ever feel bad in the old space.
No, neither did I. But I can kind of understand.
Yeah, but there was just something a little off. That's the only thing.
Well, you also had, so the way the other space went is you walked in and there was like the shop space. Then Rhonda had her room.
Yep,
And
reading
then
room.
then there was the like extra office / Reiki / meeting
Yeah.
/ everything space.
Yeah, where we tried to put everything. And
Yeah. It didn't always work.
Sorry, no.
But I feel like because it was sectioned
Well,
off.
it was weird because there were bugs.
That too.
And it was like really weird. It was like, why are all these bugs here?
Well, like
Not a bug in this place.
Well, and it's now that okay, so I didn't think about that until you started mentioning it. I need to shut my here. What if I just do that? I press snooze instead of off. You're right, because there was, and I just chalked it up because it was the summer. I just chalked it
That's
up.
what I thought too, but
Then it was definitely in the winter too.
yeah.
And yeah.
And they would just appear. And it wasn't like flies, it wasn't a horror film or anything.
no. Like it was,
But it was just like, why are there so many bugs in here?
and it wasn't like gross bugs either. It was just
No.
like one specific.
I don't even know what it was. It wasn't an ant. It wasn't a fly. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was like almost like a beetle. It wasn't a cockroach. People are going to be like, it's a cockroach.
Yeah, no.
It was not a cockroach.
I unfortunately have seen a couple of those.
Me
and
too.
No.
I know cockroach when I see it. And that was not cockroach. So
No.
it's like, okay.
No, that's interesting. Now that because again, I haven't thought about that, but since you moved over here, there hasn't been one.
Nope.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. So what kind of energy was attracting
This
them?
used to be an old hotel, one client told me.
Really?
Yeah. And upstairs, so I've moved 4 times in the same building.
I love that you literally have like a story for almost every space in this place.
So when I moved out of the closet
The closet.
into the bigger office, there was a spirit right by the door,
Okay.
and he was always there. But I smudged the shit out of that place too, and I asked him, "Are you okay with everything I'm doing in here? And
Yeah.
you're just going to be quiet and mind your manners,
Yeah.
and business and stuff."
Hey, I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone.
Exactly. And he was like, "Yep, no problem. I'm just going to show up every once in a while." I'm like, "Okay." It's like, I'm fine with that. There's almost no house that I have ever lived in that has not had a spirit in it. So I'm very used to spirits.
That's interesting. I think
Some were nicer than others.
yes. I would agree with that.
My mother used to say, like, I was her little oracle, she said, but she said I have a calming energy for spirits. Mm-hmm. You know, so I was like, oh, okay, good to know. Because when I moved out of the house, there was, like, the last house Mom and Dad lived in, I moved out, and we knew that there were spirits in there. And in fact, when we first moved in, there was one door for a bedroom that was nailed shut.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was like obviously not a friendly spirit was coming through there.
Yeah.
And when I moved out, so when we moved in, I could sense something in Mom. It was in Mom's and Dad's room. And then when I moved out, Kayla moved into Mom's and Dad's room, and we had put an addition on, and Mom and Dad lived in the addition part for a bedroom. Well, there were a few spirits in there. When I moved out, that spirit became very angry again,
Oh.
to the point where Kayla, my sister, went really bananas. She was obsessively, she's an artist, very good artist, and she was obsessively drawing Kurt Cobain from Nirvana.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like obsessively so. And it was just like weird.
Weird.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like, and the more she was in the bedroom, the weirder she got. But when she was out of the bedroom, the influence started to wear
Taper
off. Yeah.
So it's almost like the spirit was only in the bedroom.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's
it
interesting.
was like demonic, as my sister Kimber would say. You know, and it was like, yeah, I could see that. And it's weird that that was the bedroom that was nailed shut, right?
I mean, now that you like your sister had experienced that spirit, maybe that was why it was nailed shut. People
Yeah.
had that experience with it, and they're like, no, let's just leave it.
Yeah, because Mom and Dad's room was here, and my room was across the hall.
Okay.
So Mom thinks I had some calming kind of energy for that
Yeah.
spirit. Because, of course, that was around the time where I was astral projecting and walking around the house and stuff
That sounds fun.
and watching myself sleep until Mom put the fear of God into me about it.
Don't do it.
She was like, don't do it. Other things will get into your body. So I got
Accurate.
scared.
If you don't take the proper precautions.
Yeah,
accurate.
and as a kid, I didn't know. Like, I was like 13, 14 at that point.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know. It's like, hey, I can get out of my own body and watch myself sleep and walk around the house. And
Meanwhile, your mom's like, duh, no.
yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but I didn't like Mom's and Dad's room when I first moved in because there was like, I know exactly the space where it was coming through. And I was like,
Interesting,
yeah.
yeah.
It was a darkness, definitely. It was weird.
Well, okay, so here's kind of tarot adjacent, but so in the news, Kingston Pen might go up on a plot of land that might be rezoned for housing.
I heard that.
So spiritually, my question is, do you really want to disturb
Because they have a prison in Ottawa
Yeah.
that they changed into a hotel.
Yes, I've been there and stayed there.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
And I've heard people who have stayed there will sometimes experience spirits.
Yeah, I think it depends. I wasn't completely aware when we stayed there. I could
Okay.
definitely tell something was around.
Okay.
But I wasn't like in tune enough to really be like, ooh, what's this? And Josh, as much as he doesn't like to admit it, a little more sensitive on that aspect. He's like, I could handle this for the night, but I don't think we'd be doing like a week vacation here.
Right,
Type thing. But we
right.
also stayed, I think, because it wasn't in the individual, because there were spaces where like individuals, but if you were like a couple and wanted a kitchenette, I think we ended up in the warden's house or like the
Oh.
warden's quarters.
Oh, okay,
So it was a little
okay.
bit bigger.
So you weren't in one of the cells because
No.
they kept it like
Oh, they did totally
Yeah.
because
because that was part of the experience.
was it included in the price or did you have to pay extra? I don't remember, but before you check out, you have the option of taking the tour of like,
okay.
this is where we kept people, this is where they would do the hangings, and they would just drop the body, and there was like a 3-foot drop, and like
Right.
that's why the floor is caved the way it is, and I'm just going,
right.
what?
Yeah, yeah.
It was really interesting.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but you could definitely tell that like people were.
Pretty morbid kind of feeling. And,
It is, but they actually made it seem pretty cozy. Like
Right.
they've if you're
oh yeah, I mean they upgraded. You
yeah, and if you're not tapped into
you weren't given your towel and your pillow to bring to your cell.
Can you imagine?
Here's the striped suit for you.
That's right. The pajamas are part of the experience. You have to wear them. No, it was in like there was common areas downstairs where like people could like talk because it was like somewhat of a hostel, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, no, they definitely had like a tour you could go.
Because like when I heard about the homeless thing, I'm like, are they just gonna like upgrade the cells a little bit and make them
But the whole
sleep
thing
there?
is like that's why it closed in the first place was because it was too much money to upgrade. So what are they gonna do?
Well, maybe some millionaires bought it and
Oh, I don't know.
sinking money into it for the homeless.
And
That's
then
his
and then other
ticket
people,
into heaven or something.
other people are like, it's historical. I thought you couldn't build over historical things. So there's a whole other there's a whole
the history
Yeah.
people will be all over that.
well, there's also sacred ground for the indigenous prisoners as well.
Right.
So it's like, how
right.
do you? I know this is the wrong.
You know,
term.
the old story, if you don't want to build a house on top of an Indian burial ground.
Well, I don't know if it's a burial ground or if it's like a sacred site that they could do their like
Rituals and
Thank you.
ceremonies. and
ceremonies,
stuff.
rituals. For some reason, my brain was
That's
thinking something
okay.
else. And like
Because I had a friend of mine who owned a historical home,
Mm-hmm.
and she lived in it with her husband and her family, and they couldn't even change curtains without getting approval from the.
curtains.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I thought-
even putting in a dishwasher, they had to get approval from the history board or whatever it is. Because when you have a historical home, you cannot change things.
Well, I knew that you couldn't change like where the living room went or like the crown molding and like stuff that would change what the house looked like.
They want it to kind of.
But
reflect-
curtains?
Yeah, absolutely. Even
Oh.
carpeting.
No.
They had to get approval for their new dishwasher.
Well, that I
So you
could-
don't really own your home.
No.
You know, it's like, what are you paying for then?
It's like, are you paying my mortgage? Because
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get, you know, because I feel sad when I see some of the old Victorian homes that are now lambasted by Queen students.
and like split into
yeah,
apartments and stuff. Yeah, so do I.
I feel sad when that happens. Or sometimes they've dragged them out of the neighborhood they're in and have changed them to offices. And every nice house around the hospital is now a doctor's office.
Yep.
And like they've obviously done some renovations and changes and stuff.
To make it into what's suitable for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, so why, if I live in a historical home, I get you don't want it to be desecrated kind of thing, but at the same time, there's a happy medium too, right?
For sure, and I found it really interesting. Like speaking of doctor's offices, because like my doctor moved from like Redendale area to near the hospital,
Okay.
and I was like, why? There was
Yeah.
parking in there.
Oh, parking
like,
near the hospital's a nightmare.
But I
or
mean-
very expensive.
Yeah, no, we can't win. But no, we're digressing. So
We are. This is becoming an anything, everything, and nothing at all episode.
Yep. So it might be a little bit of tarot, but in everything, anything, and nothing at all.
Yes, exactly. But getting back to Imbolc with tarot. So you can pull some cards. It might be what seeds do I need to plant? What first step do I need to make?
Ooh, I like that.
Where's my best opportunity for said situation? So I've just pulled 3 cards randomly. I've got the Page of Cups. Ooh, so something, what did I say? What seeds should I plant? And it's funny, he's got like dragons, horse.
Seahorses and butterflies.
Yeah, but
there's
they look
also
like plants.
foliage. Yeah.
So it looks like
interesting.
I've got a harvest coming in. But pages always bring messages. So I get to pull another card. This is what is exciting. I love the special cards. I talk about the special cards on the Lessons of Tarot on this channel. So go there, take a look. 9 of Pentacles. So an end is coming, but she's also got a bush of pentacles. She's got,
Some resources going on.
yeah, a bush of money. Who doesn't want?
Can we all have a bush of money?
Yeah, exactly. So things are changing. Awesome, awesome. Oh, the Devil. This is what first step should I take?
Ooh, that's interesting.
So the first step I got to take is unchaining myself from maybe a belief about myself.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking,
So
right?
now you have to kind of analyze, like, what are your beliefs about yourself?
Yeah.
What doesn't serve you?
Because when people come in for a tarot reading, a lot of times if it's spur of the moment, I don't even charge them what it's worth. I'm like, yeah, just throw me this.
Yeah.
You know, but yesterday I told a lady the price. And I was like, I'm going to not back down from this price.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. I'm like, oh, okay. You don't need a discount or anything? Okay, cool. So one of the things I need to change about myself, so I'm drawing another card, not that you would for the Devil card necessarily, but it's 2 major arcanas.
So but you could look at it as a clarifier of like, so the devil's saying, hey, I need to change something. And you're going, well, I have a list of things I want to change. Where do I start? And that could be represented by, was the Hierophant? Oh, the Emperor. Ooh.
Number 4, I'm about to level up, but I have to believe in myself in order
okay.
to do that.
Yeah.
Here's how I'm reading it. Of course, it's hard to read yourself too. But what was this? This was sort of like, where is my best luck
Luck. Okay.
kind of thing, I think, or something like that. Got the 9 of Wands, and I'm bowing, right? So I often say true strength, real strength is gentle and humble, and bowing to the forces that be. There's humility and grace and strength in that. And this is, 9s are an end of a cycle. They're just a nice end of a cycle. Wands often have to do with your passion, in particular your career, not your job. That's what I'm in. I'm in my career. And it's the ending of a cycle of, embracing my wisdom, my humility, and my strength.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Let's do one for you.
All right.
Let's see what Kayla gets.
That's shuffling.
Because that was about my business, because I'm always about my business. How was my business going to do?
Well, it's funny because I want to focus on mine too. So we'll see.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 of Pentacles. So I'm
okay.
making some choices about money
Yeah.
and
And
kind
you've got
of
some nice,
nice little critters that are looking up, going.
what are they called? Capiparas or the thing I've got up here.
The little squishy that
Yes.
doesn't have a mate anymore.
Yes.
Made me so sad that you only sold the one of them.
I know, right? But
yeah.
you've got a bunch of them there staring
Little
up at you.
Little capybaras.
Yep.
And it's interesting that there's a ladybug because
Oh.
a friend of mine looks at it as like things are gonna be okay, and like that's like her sign that things are. So, but she uses it in her business enough that every time I see one, I think of her.
Oh,
So
okay.
that could be lucky. Could
Yeah.
be a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, so we're balancing some money aspects. 10 of Cups.
Ooh.
An ending, but a happy ending.
A happy ending and a gift.
And a gift. Ooh, I like gifts.
Yeah. Who doesn't want a gift?
Page of Wands.
Oh, Page of Wands.
So we're definitely going into some fiery
yeah,
suits.
some passion.
Passion, which makes sense. I want to kind of turn.
The pages also bring messages.
Oh my gosh, I got another gift. And the message.
Yes.
King of Pentacles.
There you go, Master of Money.
Master of Money. So we need to lean into that ending of things that are coming up, lean into that passion for my business and really kind of go hard on that. And then that Master of Money is going to happen.
Yeah.
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 That's how I'm. And
That's
then
awesome.
Ace of Swords.
Ace of Swords. Doors opening.
Doors opening.
You get a gift with the aces.
Ooh.
She's getting all kinds of presents.
All kinds of presents. 7 of Swords.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So, no, 7 of Wands.
Oh, Wands. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
We were talking about swords and it just kind of flowed.
Yeah, so the door's opening because of the message you're putting out there.
Okay.
Because, you know, you're always talking about how, you know, you got to get on top of that and you got to do that. Because you have said you haven't put yourself out there enough. Mm-hmm. So now you do.
And then,
it's that what I'm seeing. And then the result is...
the doors are opening and things
and people are like, yeah, I want to come in and see you for this, that, and the other thing.
Well, it's been interesting because I've been commenting more whether or not it fruits of labor have yet to be determined.
Mm-hmm.
But I also remember you and I had like 5 or 6 social media chats before I came and saw you for the first time.
Right.
So like I'm
right.
starting to remember that like it takes that pebble, that little
Yeah.
like
people have to see something like 7 to 9 times before they act on it.
Yep.
So it's just a constant like, don't forget I'm a tarot card reader. Don't forget I'm a tarot card reader. Or don't forget I'm a Reiki practitioner. Because they'll forget when they go to look for it, and guess who they'll get in touch with? The last Reiki person that put something up, and they're like, "Oh, there's Reiki. Okay, click."
So I really need to get into consistently, and I think with I think I'm just gonna start like we do these unscripted, on kind of very real, and I think I just need to start doing the same.
Yeah.
Might not be YouTube.
Yeah, but even like, you know, in your social media posts on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, just, you know, slap anything up there at least to get into the news feed.
Yeah.
Of
And then
other
it's also
people.
that consistency too, right?
Yeah.
I have like
Stop sharing stuff from other people, because then they get the credit.
oh yes. Okay.
You got to make it organic from your own thing, right?
Yes. I'm getting better at that. But sometimes people just they have it so eloquently put and I'm like, I can't put it any better.
Right, yeah. But, you know, like put up anything that you see that you like. It's a great saying. Or again, you know, here's Kayla, here's what she does.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing, because I can't tell you the number of times, you know, you've been on my news feed, and yes, I have funny things because I'm hilarious, but
It's true.
but I am also posting up Goddess Garage stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And the best way to get sales for product so far has been slap up something there and someone's going to go, hey, I want that.
Well, yeah, and it just so happens you had something I wanted, but I was looking at you had a lot of incense burners on the last post. Or
Yeah.
like incense
Yeah.
stuff. I have pets. I don't really burn a lot of incense, but there were some other things that I was like, oh, that's cute. Yeah. So if I don't end up buying right away, I'm definitely like commenting because I want
Yes, and
the
I
algorithm to
appreciate that.
keep
Yes.
going.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
that's the only way it works.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm always posting up that I'm like, by the way, I'm a tarot card reader. When do you want to come see me? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of readings that way.
Good.
You know, that's the last minute thing I was telling you about, right? Like sometimes they come in last minute and I'm like, I want to go home, or do I want to make some money?
And the answer is always make money.
I know. The answer should always be making money.
But also, if you've been here for 10 hours, like that's a long shift.
It is, yes. And you are, you know, like you've got prime time. You're here on Saturdays, you know.
Yep.
So
It is a lot of fun to be here on Saturdays, and honestly, that's usually when I walk around your shop and I'm like, what have I not noticed? I have time to actually like peruse.
Yeah, exactly. But folks, you got to come in so she doesn't have time to peruse.
Yeah, don't make me spend my money.
Yes.
I want to help you find what you're looking for, whether that be a crystal, whether that be a piece of jewelry, whether that be a reading, Reiki session,
Absolutely.
everything.
Yep.
We've got it.
Yep, and she's here on Saturdays. This is the prime day. Because a lot of people will ask me about Saturdays. I'm like, I don't do Saturdays. Unless it's like a tea party. Then I'll do Saturdays.
Ooh, tea parties are fun.
Yeah. I have the Galentine's tea party coming up. So hopefully people will...
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. I had 2 love readings, so February love readings already starting.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a fun one.
I had 2 yesterday is what I didn't complete the sentence. I completed it in my head, but didn't say it out
It's
loud.
usually the like, I answered the message in my head, but I didn't send it.
I've done that. Or I've even typed it up but forgot to press send. And it's like, oh shit.
I'm getting better. So like, as I said, I couldn't sleep from like 2 till 6 this morning or 2 till 5 or whatever it was. So my brain went through like a laundry list of things that I needed to do or talk about or whatever. And a couple of them were messaging people. And I'm like, I'm not messaging you at 2 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah.
I wrote it out. And then before I left this morning, I'm like, okay, who have I not sent messages to? And
Yeah.
I actually pressed send and I was really proud of myself.
excellent.
Because
That's
I'm like, I'm
awesome.
really bad for like, yeah, I'll get back to you. And then 3 days later, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. But you're right. You don't want to message them at 2 a.m, not because their phone will ding or whatever, but because you don't want them to know you're available at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Just because my brain's thinking of things the next day at 2 a.m. doesn't mean I'm actually available. I should be sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Sleep is important. Just sometimes my brain goes, nah, you don't
Yeah,
need it.
exactly. You got to think about these things first.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh God. So I guess that's it. We did some readings.
Yeah, we did some readings.
So feel free to do your own reading, see what
Yeah.
things are planted, and
And we will come in for either a session or a tarot reading or a moon circle because those are really fun. And they go really interesting. Like sometimes people come in and be like, I want to talk about this. And then other times you're like, no, the cards say this.
yes, yeah. Tarot will tell you what you need to hear as opposed to what you want to hear. And it can be hard as a reader sometimes to deliver those messages that the client doesn't want to hear. But usually I found in my own personal experience, usually even if it's a hard thing I'm telling them, they will be like, yeah, that probably sounds right.
Yeah.
It's like,
They're thinking it in the back of their head. They just don't want to hear about it.
exactly. So, it makes them think. Tarot
a good
cards
thing.
make you think.
Cards make you think.
Yeah.
With that, though, I think we're going to sign off.
Yes. So like this video, please, and subscribe to our channel because we would really appreciate that. And what else? Ring the bell
Ring the fairy bell.
so you know when the new videos are up.
Usually-
Watch other
yeah.
videos on our channel.
You've got a podcast on Wednesday with Catherine.
I do. Usually. We didn't
Usually.
this Wednesday because it was a snow day, I think, or something happened. I can't
Yeah.
remember. And maybe she was just tired. Who knows?
Usually we're on Mondays. I know today is Friday, but that was when the schedule happened to be aligned.
Yeah, so if we don't do it Monday nights, we do usually try to make it up through the week and
Yep.
that sort of thing. And anything else? Share it. Share it with your friends. Tell your friends about us because we're amazing.
We are. And you know how good we are.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. All right, we'll talk to you later. I'm going to let you X
Bye.
the thing because...
Okay. Because we always make this so much fun. There we go.
exactly.
There we go.